What does his text mean?
So frustrating.
Maybe he's just not that into me.
No, she really likes
I've
me.
always been bad
How
at
can I
flirting.
get her attention?
I'm ready for
I
marriage.
just want somebody to share my life.
Is this
relationship going anywhere?
Modern Love Made Simple. This is Dates and Mates with Damona Hoffman. Hello, lovers. Welcome to Dates and Mates. I'm your host, certified dating coach, Damona Hoffman. And for those of you who've been listening to the show for a little bit, welcome. You are hopefully getting the modern dating and relationship advice that you need. But some of you have been listening for a long time, some a very long time, some maybe all 250 episodes. Yes, friends, this is our 250th show of Dates and Mates. And I have a very special lineup of co-hosts who will be joining me in a little bit. But for those of you who maybe don't remember all of Dates and Mates, I'll give you a little bit of the highlights of our top guests from the last 6.5 years. You may recognize Bridget Marquart from Travel Channel's Bridget's Sexiest Beaches, but she actually got her start as a Playboy playmate, which ultimately led her to being on the hit show Girls Next Door, where playmates Holly Madison, Kendra Wilkinson, and Bridget were followed around their home for 5 years in the Playboy mansion, and their lives were documented, along with their boyfriend at the time, Hugh Hefner. Do you think the number matters in a relationship? Is it something that do you ever think about how many women he slept with?
Sometimes, but I feel like that's about experience too. Like I haven't been with that many people, so I was pretty vanilla beforehand.
Torrei Hart is an actress and star of VH1's hit new TV show Atlanta Exes, and she also is the ex-wife of comedian Kevin Hart. We're going to talk about some of the things that she's learned from her breakup and from her divorce. Is there anything that you would do differently? Is there anything that now you see, there was a sign that things were going in the wrong direction, or even signs that he was cheating that maybe you didn't pick up on?
Well, I probably would have had more sex with my husband. Maybe,
we get tired, though. We do get tired.
You know, when infidelity does come into play, and this is all public, he talks about it in his stand-up, it's not like I'm throwing him under the bus or anything. Mm-hmm. But, I felt like the emotions kind of made me not want to do that. And, maybe we could have had a different way of working things out. And I probably could have been a little bit more supportive. I am with Grant Langston. He is the VP of Brand Marketing for eHarmony. We're talking about what makes eHarmony different as a dating site.
eHarmony is operating with a certain goal in mind. The biggest goal is to have a very, very low divorce rate.
Food Network's Aarti Sequera is here. She is the winner of the 6th season of the next Food Network star, and she was the next Food Network star. She is now a Food Network star, and she currently hosts another cooking show, now Taste in Translation, where she seeks the most popular dishes from around the world, and has her first cookbook, A Fistful of Onions. Did I do it right?
Yeah. A lot of people say, working as a couple, isn't that crazy? But, I'm not going to say there aren't moments, and there might be some episodes you can tell where we've stopped, had a full-blown argument, and then continued. And it's, but for the most part, like, we work really well together, and it was really... who better to have in your corner than, and Brendan and I have been together for like 17 years.
We have Justin McLeod. He is the CEO and founder of Hinge. First of all, kudos to you, because I have 2 clients that met somebody on Hinge in the last year and are already getting married this coming year. So
that's awesome to hear.
Props.
Thank
props.
you.
And it does show that you seem to be doing something different. I want to know what that is. Like, what's the magic sauce, you think, of Hinge?
For us, so we've always been about social connection. So we've always been about friends of friends.
Those are just a few of my favorite moments from the last 250 episodes. I almost said 250 years. Sometimes it feels like we've been doing the show that long, but sometimes it feels like we're just getting started. And so today I brought in some people who have been with me and made the memories with me over these last 250 episodes. First, I will introduce to you Natasha Lewin, who is now the Chief Writing Officer for Zuckerberg Media, alongside Randy Zuckerberg, the co-creator of the trending podcast, Once Upon a Time Stamp. You know her as Producer Natasha, though. So please give big smooches. Well, I think we should do the smooches at the end, right?
Sure,
okay, we'll do one smooch. We'll do one group smooch at the end. I'm so happy to have you here, Natasha. Next to her, we have Producer Jay. He is a producer, media executive with a focus on diversity and inclusion.
That's right.
For many years, he's also been the president of the Down Syndrome Association of Los Angeles, and I'm so happy to have him back in the studio.
I'm happy to be here.
And last but certainly not least, to my left, we have Ray Christian. He is the founder and CEO of Techspert. Now it's just Techspert.
Thank you.
Okay,
Nailed it. People
get
confused.
It's hard to evolve, but I'm trying. Techspert is revolutionizing mental health care with artificial intelligence. He's been featured in Mashable, SiriusXM, PC Mag, and more. Ray Christian, Natasha Lewin, and Producer Jay. Please give big smooches to all three of them.
Well, hello.
Why?
Good to be back.
This is, first of all, it's kind of weird because like there's a little bit of overlap between Producer Jay and Ray. But then Natasha's here and producer Leah's here. And it's like we've got the whole gang back together.
It's a lot of chiefs in the kitchen. Oh, what is that? That's not even the metaphor. Like chiefs in the kitchen. How about we just do that?
Chiefs go in kitchens too.
This is already getting started wonderfully.
You're like, it's like all your
Cooks.
exes in the same room.
I know, but
feel
if
weird.
you remember, I have good relationships with all my exes. So
true.
I still also have good relationships with my ex co-hosts and producers. So I asked these guys to come up with some of their favorite moments. So what we're going to do today is play some of these clips, and then we'll talk about why you picked them and how they impact our dating and relationship opinions today.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, first we have a little clip from Natasha from back in the day.
Okay.
She doesn't know this one, so this will be a surprise. Used to be back in the days when I was using online dating and sitting in, my bedroom at 10 o'clock at night sorting through guys. Come on, you guys have all done it. Stop. That has changed. Now people are doing it out on the go, and they're saying, hey, I'm out at the bar with my friends, and I want to meet somebody right now. So that's one thing that's changed. I don't know if you would ever use that if you were to get an iPhone.
It's kind of creepy, no? Like, hey, I'm here with my friends, and then you're looking around, and then the person who's on the phone,
But isn't that just the world that we live in? Everything. I don't know how I got anywhere before I had an iPhone, like with the GPS and with
you ask
Google.
directions. Or what's the old LA map?
Please. You mean to get out of my car and go to a gas station and ask directions?
Or you get the plug-in.
I might
have the
meet someone.
plug-in.
might have to talk to someone. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, it does make your life a lot more convenient. You have the plug-in one. Yeah,
I have the plug-in one.
Okay, so the second thing is dating in multiples. What does this mean? So, and this is the part where I think we're going to have a little debate, Producer Natasha.
Uh-oh.
Because it's said that it's implied now if you're dating, particularly online, you're just dating other people until you have a conversation that you're exclusive. So we were talking to a client earlier this week, and he was wondering if you are exclusive, if you're dating, if you're kind of casually dating someone. I say, unless you've had the talk, I agree with the article. I think it's anything goes. What do you say, Producer Natasha?
I say no. You know that. I think that as soon as you start dating someone, regardless if sex is involved or not, it's like you are dating that person.
I'm a liar.
You're dating that person.
So old-fashioned.
I just don't. I mean, I'm too busy. I can't be, and that's why we've got someone to talk about macking on. But I'm too busy. I can't swing a bunch of dudes. I just can't.
Oh,
One-
please, you have totally done that.
I have, but not like second dates, third dates, fourth dates.
It does get a little complicated.
It gets
after
too
that.
complicated.
But see,
forget names.
Once you get to the third
Yikes.
date, it's kind of
Implied.
heading towards seriousness. Okay, so that was a clip from
Everything has
6
changed.
years ago almost.
I have an iPhone.
Yeah, that was back when Natasha had a flip phone.
I have an iPhone.
Do you still have the plug-in GPS?
No, I use my iPhone.
She uses her iPhone. So technologically, she has advanced.
Look how much we've grown.
Yes, I know. I was, like you said, back in my 30s. How young was I?
And it seems like you disagree with your own take. I saw you shaking your head a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I want to date them all, but
So now
you've
you will
seen the
date
light.
multiple people at the same time.
I would absolutely. I have. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that what changed? Is it something that changed in you, or do you think technology has changed the way we're dating?
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Wow.
So I'm in a relationship now with someone that I met online.
Oh,
But
news!
I was
Right?
dating a bunch of people, and I would go on vacation, and I would be on Bumble, and I was very honest, even though I had a fake name.
She just
Seems
said
legit.
She's
Yeah.
really honest.
I was
and
very
she had a fake
honest.
name.
I had a fake name, but I would tell him like I'm just in town, and I would
the weekend.
And I just talked to one, yesterday. I mean, he knows I'm in a relationship, but oh my god, it's so fun.
Wait,
So
wait,
fun.
hold on. You were talking to one yesterday?
Yeah, but just we're still friends. We're still friends.
She's
An
still
ex
friends
you
with her
met
ex.
on Hinge?
It wasn't an ex. It was just someone I went on date with, two dates with while I was traveling. And I was trying to, honestly, my goal was to have the Jay-Z Girls, Girls, Girls song, Boys, Boys, Boys. So I got the Canadian, I got, what else? I got the Canadian, I got the Swede, I got the the Indian, I got the pot grower. I had the song ready.
I love how the pot grower is like a country.
Right.
I love it.
We should hang out more often. For real. But so I liked how you disagree with your take from before, where it's like if you're dating, you're exclusive.
God, I don't know what I was thinking.
I agree with your turn of heart.
Yeah, I don't know what I
You
was
got to
thinking.
have the talk.
What's your take, Ray? Do you think, are you exclusive? Is it implied at any point? You're already smirking.
Well, Jimmy's grumbling.
Wow.
I was a little hurt by the
Wow.
grumble. Like, he wasn't trying to hear my take. But look, I have plucked his feathers in the past, so
Just
I get
like
it.
old times.
Like riding a bike.
Yep.
I think my take would be to the topic in the clip of like, are you exclusive until you've had the convo, or are you exclusive when you just been on a couple dates? I agree with what you're saying now. Like, you gotta have the convo. You gotta have it explicit. It could be one date, it could be 10.
Right.
You got to get clear expectations from both.
I will say it is cultural though, but I am seeing a shift. Back when we started this show 6 years ago, we talked about in the UK and some other dating markets, it is the absolute opposite is implied. You go on one date with one person, and you're with them until you decide to stop dating them. And I have heard from my clients in the UK that has shifted there. And so I think that was a little bit of a what do you call it, bellwether to show that the change. It's a bellwether country. While you're going around the world dating all these dudes on Bumble to show the shift in the cultural norm. I know what Producer Jay is going to say, so it's almost like I don't need to ask.
Why? We just got to skip over Producer Jay. I'm just saying. Well, yeah, you do that. I'm so terribly monogamous. It's just like, but I do understand at least having the conversation, though. I agree with that part. Like, have the discussion and then just make sure that things are clear. Because if anything, I'm all about communication and interpersonal, relationships and avoiding conflict. And I think that's one of those things that you can just do that doesn't cost you much.
Okay, well, as we were talking about interpersonal communication, obviously body language is one part of that. So we have a clip from one of your favorite episodes to play now.
Oh, snap.
A woman might see you in a peripheral, but she may be very well be interested, but she's not necessarily even going to convey that until you've come up and made an approach. But not just an approach, because a woman might find you attractive, but if you come up and you're a bit awkward or shy, or maybe you're not funny or you're not interesting, she may change her mind, and that's totally fine. It's within her rights. So it's not really about that. What I want, guys, and we can talk more about reading body language once you're in an interaction. But my general philosophy is if you see somebody and you find them attractive and you want to go introduce yourself, just do it, because there's nothing bad that's going to happen.
I'm glad that you said that, because I think a lot of people psych themselves out before they even get there. And I used to do a lot of mixers with Match.com, and it was like going to a middle school dance, I swear, because the girls would all be holed off in a circle with themselves, and the guys would be standing by the bar or on the outskirts and saying, like, I don't even know how to get in here. So if you can let go of the outcome and just say, I'm creating a conversation, and not worry about what is going to happen or whether or not she's going to accept your advance, you'll probably do yourself a favor. You're right.
And that was Hootie, who writes about body language in his book, Body Talk. And coincidentally, it was also the person who introduced me to Ray Christian. He was like, you got to get this guy on your show. He's got this app called TextBird. He'd have really good advice. And I was like, you know what? We're really, really busy. We're booked out for like months and months and months. But to raise credit, he just wouldn't let it go. That's one of the things that I really appreciate about him now. He just doesn't let things go.
Wait, but hold on.
I was like, that was so loaded.
There was so much in there to unpack. All right, well, did I reach out to you? I feel like you reached out to me. I feel like you made the first move at the middle school dance.
Excuse me, I have receipts.
Oh.
But I'm really glad that I finally said yes and had you on the show, because once you were a guest on the show, then I was like, this guy's amazing. We have
It
to
was
have him
love
back every
at
single
first
week.
sight.
Yes.
I remember the conversation right after it. You were like,
I was like, that guy.
yeah.
Who is
It's like,
that
just
guy?
kind of worked.
I'm like, I think
It
he
was
needs
a
to
good
stick
show.
around.
It was good.
It was
I
a really
appreciate
good show.
it.
But I like how I picked a clip where you have laryngitis. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that raspy voice,
Yeah,
though.
who is that?
That was good, right?
It was so good. So
Then
great.
I was saying earlier before the show, I had many hairstyles. Producer Leah was going through and seeing the many, like the straight hair, the kind of sort of curly hair, the really curly hair, the hair up, the hair down. It's blonde, it's black, it's red, it's all kinds of different colors. And then my voice changes throughout. But I have a handle on my voice right now. But yeah, I was sick and I was not going to call in for that show. I was doing that show no matter what.
This is apropos of a dish. It might be a dish topic from the past. So Hootie, who I forgot rebranded himself as Hootie because his name was Huzefa, which is already a cool name.
That's his dating name.
Hootie, fair enough. So the Finding Neverland, the whole MJ scandal thing on
Yes.
HBO, which you have to watch. I mean, the dude. There's two
Not ready.
guys that it's
Not
based
ready.
on, and one of them, his name is Wade Robson. He looks exactly like Hootie.
Wait, Wade Robson, he's an actor.
He's a famous choreographer.
Choreographer.
Yeah. He's one of the.
Okay, I'm out of the loop. I'm not ready to watch it. I know
guys
I
haven't
need
seen
to, but
it?
I haven't seen it.
I can't.
we've just
Not
got
yet. Yeah.
we got skin in the game. Not in that way. Woo! Let's move on. Let's move on.
Oh man.
I'm trying to think of a good segue for this. That.
Good luck.
How do we get it? You walked me right into Michael Jackson, and I'm like in a Michael Jackson corner, and now I can't get out of it.
Body Talk and Michael Jackson.
Ray, you used to do this segment called Ray's Rant, where you would rant about things. Remember?
How could I forget?
See, you never let things go.
Off the rails.
Let's see what you were ranting about in one of our past episodes.
This weekend on Saturday, we all rang in the new year, and when the ball dropped, hopefully you got to smooch with somebody special. For some of you, it was unfortunately, probably with a bad kisser. And bad kissers come in all shapes and sizes. There is the tongue puncher, also known as the lizard lick. There's the lazy tongue, also known as the dead fish. There's the cat cleaner. This is the kiss that will wipe clean every part of your mouth and lips.
Wow.
And then, of course, there's the Boston Strangler, the person that seems to be trying to strangle you with their tongue. Here's how you know if you're a bad kisser. When you're dating somebody new, do you never seem to engage in that old-fashioned high school makeout session because the person always seems to pull away after a minute or two? That means change what you're doing. Less lips, less tongue, softer, slow down the pace, do something different, try something new, stop with the gimmicks. And you look, you may be a bad kisser, but it's the new year, so pucker up.
That was one of my favorite rants because it was so visceral, right?
Oh, yeah.
And yet also so informative. Do you have any new kissing tips for people now?
Oh,
You've had
wow.
more experience, I assume.
Well, actually, as an aside, I had been abstinent for a year, which is off topic. But what a good, I don't want to get into that unless you really want to, but what a good find. And I've actually gone and listened to old episodes at times, and I'm like, I'm wrestling with like, were we just like fantastic?
Yes.
Or am I just feeling myself? Because when I hear
No, we
myself,
were
I'm like,
fantastic.
you go, Ray. You funny. Like, am I just feeling myself? Like, you can't not like your own stuff?
It was
Not
pretty
mutually
special.
exclusive.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good call.
This is why I love having the two of you in the room together. You're like the odd couple or something.
Well, then-
Who am I then?
Let's not open that can of worms.
So, question to you guys:
yeah.
have you guys did you relate to the different forms of bad
Oh,
kissers?
yeah, absolutely.
Because I definitely did. Those were real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know you haven't smooched with anybody new in
I'm
quite a while.
I'm like, what's that like?
Call
again? Back in my day, when you used to kiss the boys, you didn't use the tongue. I'm kidding.
You always
Obviously.
use the tongue.
But here's my question: do you think someone? I'm going to toss this over to Natasha since she's been dating around the world. Do you think that someone can improve their kissing technique?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Have you
yes.
trained a kissing technique?
I had a conversation with someone once. Like, I don't like when I don't have time. I don't have time. I just want.
Wait, what did you say? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was like I don't like when your tongue comes in and touches my teeth.
That's good
What?
feedback.
Wait,
Specific.
now what would you call that? The tongue?
Was that the cat licker thing?
Yeah.
Probably
Which one was
similar.
that?
That was all over. It was all over. I do that sometimes. I don't care.
If you're
I'll lick
into
'em
it,
all.
I
If
mean,
you're into it, you're into it.
I don't care.
Different stroke for different folks.
Right.
Any tips from you?
On good kissing?
Yeah.
I would just say when in doubt, go slower rather than faster.
I would say, honestly, that is a good piece of advice for any dating or relationship situation.
Maybe not all. Sometimes you got to go in hot. But
Back me up, Producer Jay.
I back you up.
Thank you.
It's like point blank period. No, but I appreciate the conversation. Like Natasha's like, no, I'm like, we're gonna have this talk. I don't like that type of situation. I think the more that you can facilitate that type of thing, the better.
Yeah.
You're so reasonable. He's all about the communication.
I
It's important.
am. I'm kind of like a one note, but I find that most problems in the world have like something to do with communication.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have a
point.
problem or maybe an opportunity to share with you from a past episode. So those of you who've been listening to the show recently know that now I do the romance rollback occasionally, and I talk about a dating relationship tradition of a bygone era. But that used to be Producer Jay's thing.
Right? Do we still have the cue?
We
Because it was still my voice. I can just do
have
it.
the
what
cue.
was it?
Even
Like
if it-
auto-tune?
No, it was just the romance rollback
Is that-
without
yeah,
the
we
voice.
still have it.
Is that in the
play.
queue?
Yeah.
No, but
Let's
I can
play
it
the cue
before.
and let's play an old romance rollback, and everybody get your barf bags ready.
Romance rollback.
Is that how you remember it?
See, that's an echo. That's an
Yeah,
echo.
there was the echo.
All right, ready? Let's roll
Well,
back.
I really want to talk about the apple of my armpit, which is what this thing is called.
That sounds really romantic.
Oh my God! So
sweet.
okay, in 19th century rural Austria, eligible lasses would keep an apple slice crammed in their armpits during dances. At the end of the evening, the girl would give her used fruit to the guy she most
my.
fancied. If the feeling was mutual, he'd wolf down. He'd eat the apple. Look,
From her armpit with all the dance sweat on it.
oh God, he'd eat the apple.
Can I put some peanut butter on it?
Ray, you came through with that peanut butter comment.
Oh my.
You seemed a little bit touched by that episode.
I still.
Do you remember that?
Yes, and I have the same visceral reaction to it.
Producer Natasha, that might have been your first time hearing about
You
that.
know what's interesting is I was just talking about this yesterday. Is remember when they had the
Apples and armpits? Okay.
When they had the pheromone parties where you would wear the
Yes.
shirt, and was just talking about how the pheromones, like if you're attracted to somebody, like I could totally eat the guy I'm dating's apple out of his arm.
Yep.
You
You're
know what?
allowed.
I
what?
love my husband.
what
I
I
am
mean?
not eating his sweaty apples.
I mean, there is something about that taste and that smell and the pheromones. Oh, I can get right into it.
Well, I wouldn't seek out armpit sweat as a general rule, but I'm with you. If I'm like sprung on a girl and she's at a dance, I'm down with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
I was
kind of
like-
like with today's hygiene
shame.
practices. Even then, it's still kind of gross. But I forget
It's a
what
little
century
gross,
we were
but-
talking about. And I'm
it's
like,
like 16th
bathing
century.
wasn't as as regular.
That was the bathing.
That's true.
Right.
That took
Other
it to another
apple
level.
in there.
No.
Maybe the apple kind of cut the flavor.
The acid of the
sweat.
apple. No. Sorry.
Well, we're talking about pretty gross things. There was an episode that really stuck with both me and Natasha
Yes.
about refrigerators. We actually,
Hot topic.
producer Tony is not here to defend himself, but we had a refrigerator expert who said that he could tell everything about a person and how dateable they were based on what he saw in their refrigerator. Poor Tony was single at the time, and he only had Metamucil. I swear to God. He was like, you don't even have any condiments or anything. Like, what does this mean? But producer
it's like the fridge
Natasha.
from Dumb and Dumber. It's Arm & Hammer, that's it.
That's it, basically. Producer Natasha, if you will, let us look inside your fridge.
Oh, jeez. It's probably the same. It's probably the exact same.
Now, something interesting about a couple of things about Natasha. She has a lot of fruits and vegetables, and they don't have price stickers on them. So what that tells me is she probably shops at a farmer's market.
Is this true?
Yes.
Is this true?
That is true, yes.
Oh.
And so, again, what we do when we look at a fridge is you look at these different clues and say, this could mean this and this, this could mean this and this, this could mean this and this, and suddenly you start intersecting those circles like, all right, now we're getting a shape of who this person is because we're adding up all these clues. In terms of Natasha, somebody that goes to a farmer's market, first of all, it's a fun Sunday morning activity. It's a fun weekend activity. Buy your coffee, go to the market, do a little shopping. You care about the environment.
Yes.
And that's a quality that personally I love about a person. A lot of people do. Are you single?
I am single.
Great quality in a single woman. You love your farmer's market. You care about the environment. You also care about local business. You care about your local economy. And again, that says something else about who you are, how you see the world, how you shape your own view of the world. And we don't want to date somebody who's the mirror image of us, but at the same time, you want to have somebody who has the same, at least a similar moral compass that you do. And I think that these kind of qualities I see as a great quality person. And something else is from a dude perspective. One thing I also like in your fridge is you have beer. Now, you have generic beer, so we have to talk about a better beer
Is it
brand
Trader
for you.
Joe's beer?
It is Trader Joe's.
Oh, okay. See,
And
there
it
you
just
go.
Yeah, I
got
didn't even know
drank
Trader
like
Joe's had
2
beer,
weeks
so
ago.
it's funny. But,
Like
because Trader
5
Joe's
years
actually does
ago.
have regular name brand beer as well. But what it says to me is you don't drink beer, but you're a good host because you actually care about if somebody's over, I have a beer for them. And that's a given quality in somebody. You're a good host, you're giving, you care about somebody's comfort in your home, and that's a quality I like to see in somebody I'm dating. And I think that's a quality that's a big positive to start a relationship with somebody.
Producer Leah and I were listening to that.
And I was like, he's so into her.
I know.
Right. I was like, did he get a number?
On me.
He's married. He's married. He's actually, I don't know if I can say who he's married to, but he's married to someone that I know, and which I didn't realize when I booked him on the show. But anyways, John Stonehill, kind of amazing, right? That was pretty spot on.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I think he's being very, very nice. Like it's cheaper at the farmer's market to get organic than it is anywhere else. And I do care about local business and all of that. And yes, it sounds very flattering and wonderful, but I mean, I think he's giving me a lot of credit, which is nice,
I don't.
But the beer did literally, that beer from 5 years ago just got drank and then thrown out immediately.
Because they were like, this is disgusting.
But
you don't even care about your guests at all.
But I know I still have that same mustard in the fridge that I did when I took that picture.
But it's kind of remarkable because he did not know us at all. Right. We just sent him pictures of our refrigerators. Since I subjected you to it, why not give us a couple moments to look inside my fridge as well?
Yeah.
Tell me what the fridge says.
Well, the fridge says you're not available. It says you're married.
Even my
it
fridge says it.
Obviously you're a beautiful woman, but you're taken. You're not available
anymore. But what in my fridge tells you that I'm taken?
You have, first of all, you have a lot of fruits and vegetables that are family size. You have a lot, and plus also you also have a lot of different kinds of milks. That if it was just you wouldn't be buying half gallons of the different kinds of milks you have. You might all right, this is for my coffee, maybe a pint. If you're really a crazy caffeine chick, maybe a quart. But that you're going half gallons of milk shows that there's more than one person in the home. I love the fact you have chocolate syrup. Says to me, all right, either you're a kid at heart or you have a kid.
It's great.
And I answered with both. I thought that was pretty interesting.
It's really insightful.
Because you don't think that your fridge is giving away all these clues about yourself.
Well, can I jump in real quick? I told this story the other day. So he told this story really quick about a girl. How he came up with the idea was not even a woman. She was like an astrophysicist. She was gorgeous. She had a big penthouse apartment. Remember this story? I tell it all the time. Big penthouse apartment, beautiful, body, everything. And they were about to seal the deal. And he was thirsty or hungry. And he opened up her fridge and it was all gross, moldy takeout. It was stinky and moldy and it was all green in her fridge. And he was like, she's going to be crazy, and she ended up being crazy, like super crazy. And so he was like, I should have known with the fridge, because her fridge was disgusting. It was completely the antithesis of who she was as a person that I'm meeting.
Maybe it's how she was able to achieve so much in her life, because she doesn't have time to think about what's happening in her fridge. She's out and about making things happen in the world.
I know, but to have a green moldy fridge is like, it just, I don't know.
It's like the person
Note
that
to
doesn't,
self.
Yeah.
like doesn't like make their bed in the morning. It's not that bad, but
Right.
similar
You guys
proxy.
are describing me like right now.
But you know what? While I agree,
All that
with
milk, spoiled milk.
While I agree with the compliments he praised on both of you, he was definitely hollering at you. But I kind of call BS. Like, and I do like sweeping generalities, but it was almost like a cold read. It was like, and plus people's refrigerators, it changes too much. Like from fresh off the grocery store trip to like 3 days later. I gotta call BS on that
Sounds like
guy.
we need to see a pic of your fridge.
I know. What's in your fridge right now, Ray?
I mean, I got some Metamucil. I got some Arm & Hammer.
Mustard.
No, I got some stuff. I got some kombucha and condiments. That's enough.
See, kombucha. I think that's
Says a lot.
a dead giveaway.
What? That I'm like a whiny little LA dude? Doing my green.
I didn't say that. You're
Cleanses and
putting words in my
kombucha.
mouth. But it
I'll
says
buy
something
it.
about
I'm in.
a particular lifestyle that you're going to
Right.
spend
Yeah.
$3 to $4 on some probiotics. Right?
But I
Also
do
a
think
delicious
that what's
drink, but-
in it probably says a lot about like who the person is. I think where you get into more gray areas, like if you're trying to say, oh, what's not in it, you know, because some people just life, they eat out or they go, you know, like that should say something,
But
but,
that
probably
says-
not
yeah.
as much as like the content that a person actually buys. Because I think he was like spot on with your stuff, Natasha.
What's in
Thank
your
you.
fridge, Producer Jay?
Well, I don't eat at home, so it's probably some green things.
But that does say something.
Yeah, I
you're
mean, it
busy,
does. Right.
You work a lot,
Mhm.
and you're not a homebody.
But I don't think that it says as much as like what was like in your, you know.
I think he
fridge.
nailed it. I
He
mean, the
did.
fact I didn't know you don't have chocolate syrup.
No.
If Ray did,
See, I thought everyone
I
had
would-
chocolate
I
syrup.
would think
And
that it meant
Metamucil.
something else.
I think he was on to something.
Different purpose.
It was
Different
a
use
different
case.
person. It wasn't about being a kid at heart or having kids.
Oh,
Oh wow, it just got weird for a moment. It got weird for a moment.
visual.
Listen, while you're throwing daggers over here,
Oh, come
Producer Jay, you picked another clip.
It did.
So why not roll into a little bit of Dr. Duana Welch?
In the ancient past, a woman simply did not get much benefit from hooking up. Think about it. There was not a grocery store around the corner. There was not a Starbucks on the corner opposite that. She had to convince her family, if she didn't have a male provider and protector, she had to convince her family to make it possible for her to give 1,000 or more calories of her own to a young person while they went and did the hunting and gathering for her. And that didn't just happen for months, it happened for years. So she really needed to have a partner who was deeply committed. Men, on the other hand, you know, in the ancient past, if a guy could get sexual access to 10 fertile women, he could have 10 children that year. She could only have one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe two if she got pregnant with twins. So there is a double standard, and it comes from the ancient past, and unfortunately, our biology, including our brain biology, has not really been able to jump over those hurdles.
Producer Jay was always talking about this episode.
I promise you.
Mhm. Tell us why that clip really spoke to you.
Honestly, it was such an aha moment, you know, because I've been able to kind of apply that to a lot of different things, even when we talk about like diversity and inclusion, you know. So when she said
what, like cultural
just like
evolution
yeah,
versus
exactly.
biological,
exactly, or even you know
conditioning.
like cultural technological evolution happening at such a much faster pace than biological evolution, and how like that creates some of the issues that we kind of like encounter where we don't understand or we expect ourselves to be caught up, and we aren't always caught up to that, because I think in that episode we ended up talking about like contraception and how like that led to like sexual revolution and everything before that, like it was so much more of a commitment. But we never really, you know, like processed the psychological implications or didn't understand why we couldn't necessarily, you know, jump on board or why there were so many issues. It's like we have this expectation that, you know, oh, we should also be here, but not realizing that cultural evolution happens so much faster. So
Right.
like that was so kind of like pivotal, because I just see that in so many different areas of that.
Wait, so what was she like? What was her point? Was she saying that like That's why
hookup
men are
culture.
That's why men are more promiscuous, because it's like bred in.
Yeah, and that women
hunter-gatherer.
say, "Oh, I can hook up just like a man, and it doesn't affect me." But that biologically, that's not how we're wired. So
Right.
we can say culturally, because we have Bumble, it's cool. I can date dudes, but ultimately, when it comes down to it, we are not biologically predisposed to want to do that. So we're working against our own biology to say that.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, I think that what is it? The oxytocin that's released when you mate. So it is
You
like
said that
something
in
that
such
you
a
have to
formal way when you mate.
when you mate. God. But I think, for me, when I made the decision, I was celibate for 2 years. And when I made the decision, like, I gotta have sex. And so to make that decision was like, I know I'm going to bond with someone. I've made bad decisions. I've been with boyfriends because as soon as I bond, I'm like, oh, he's fine. It's fine. And I end up in a relationship too long and when I knew it was not right. And no problem with them. They're just wonderful people. But it's just, I just knew it was wrong. And so I had to make that decision to like, okay, you have to leave right after sex. You have to get out of the house. You have to so I could remove myself from that bond.
So you're fighting your own conditioning to do that.
Yeah.
So wait, you're saying that women are conditioned to not want to have like lots of mates, essentially?
Yes, and that when we have sex with someone, oxytocin kicks in, and that's the bonding hormone that makes us want to have someone to stick around and raise this baby that you
And it's much more of a biological commitment for women than it is for men.
To that point, and that makes sense, especially how the hunter-gatherer point kind of drove it home for thousands or millions of years of evolution. Is this the inverse also true? That if that's true about women, then for men, it's almost like it's biologically bred into us to not be monogamous.
Right. We're not trying to give you an excuse with the science. I just want to point that out real quick because it's. I think like the whole point of the conversation was that yes, these types of things do evolve over time. It's just that something because we were talking about like attraction too, about like who was the provider and how sometimes like the nerdy guy now can probably be more of a provider than the brawny dude. But somehow there's still that initial attraction from women to like the guy that can just pick them up and sweep them off her feet.
But then it's he can't pay no bills.
But he can't pay no bills because the society has changed. So it was more of a kind of like a discussion about why we still hit some of those roadblocks.
But and what goes with that is something that I'd like to hear change over time now too. Is that why does the man have to be the provider? I like being the breadwinner, but I still have that attraction. But so how does that play in? What chemical is that?
The biology is meaning that of the two roles biologically, the guy can't give birth to the child.
I see.
So our natural, evolution is telling us that all right, well, what I can do is go out and do something and prepare while she's giving so much of her body and everything like the calories to creating the baby and nursing the child. So it just was more of that. Like that natural distinction.
Well, let's not get it twisted, though. Women still have the power to choose. And I have a clip from an episode with Tariq Nasheed, who gave us a little look into what happened in his own dating life and how that turned him into he teaches people how to Mac.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Love that word.
Tell me, Tariq, how bad did you get dissed?
When I was broke, I had my little broke apartment, but I was still trying to. I would try to get with women who were like Tyra Banks supermodels. I would try to go for the gusto.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have very attractive women in my raggedy little apartment. Some women were down. Some women were like, I'm not down. And I had one young lady come by my spot. And it was ragged. It had like a studio apartment, had a big TV that didn't work with a little TV that didn't work either. So nothing worked.
But you can have a little apartment. It could be nice.
Exactly.
But this one was raggedy.
It was just raggedy, just off GP. It was just raggedy. So I had this young lady come over, beautiful female. She came over to the spot, and a woman is uncomfortable when they won't put their purse on the floor.
Yes, I'm very comfortable here. I just let the purse fall.
When a woman, that's one thing, fellas. If a woman doesn't put her purse on the floor, she's not comfortable. So the girl came to my spot. She's sitting looking around with her purse on her lap, and I'm trying to get the mood right. I'm trying to light candles and incense.
You only got one room.
I only got
studio.
one room. And she's like, I left something in the car. I'll be right back.
No way. No way.
So she goes to the car, and I'm waiting. I'm like, okay.
You see
come
her
back.
running in
Let
heels.
me pull out some Alizé.
Oh.
Alizé, yeah.
And I literally hear this outside. She didn't just leave. She screeched off.
Screeching tires.
Just screeched off.
Oh my goodness.
And my esteem just. But I said, you know what? That's okay. I just got to keep campaigning.
Wait, who was that?
Tariq Nasheed.
That was gold.
He's
gold.
He's pretty gold. Yeah, he had been on like the Tonight Show and a whole bunch of other shows, and he teaches people how to Mac after having that experience and seeing a woman flee his apartment. But I have that image of a woman holding on to her purse. Can you
So
imagine a girl coming over to your place and like she won't sit down or?
He's so right. The not putting the purse down is a complete canary in the coal mine. Totally.
Yeah. But screeching off, I mean, can you imagine?
Dramatic effect.
Yes.
That ever happened to you? Somebody is like, I'll be right back, and
me,
then they
no.
left?
I think I left a
Of course
date.
not to Producer Jay.
I've done it. I walked out of a date.
Was that you?
A date. Yeah.
Was that you?
No, that wasn't me. But another thing he said that was gold too, and it's just like you said, the canary in the coal mine with the purse was, and I think about it all the time, again, is he said the body language of women, and you can tell when they're uncomfortable because we cover our bellies. No matter how thin you are, no matter how big you are, you always cover your bellies. And he's like, and you can tell when you're on a date that she is not feeling it. And so I have to physically let my hands go, try to square my hips towards the person. So I'm, they know that like I'm ready. Let's, I'm like you, but I'm very uncomfortable in my own security. He had a lot of really great stuff. He was a really great guest.
Hey, thank you. We've had a lot of really great guests over the last 250 episodes. We'll put in the show notes all the links to these episodes that we selected. But I encourage y'all to go through and find some of the gems of your own because there's something that you can take from each episode of Dates and Mates. Okay. Those of you who are big fans of the show know we always like to give you advice to your dating and relationship dilemmas. So now it's time for Technically Dating.
Technically Dating.
Yeah. Huh?
All right.
I still remember all the cues. I'm like,
I love it. It's like all you guys are the cues. I should have just had you do it live. This one comes to us, I think, from Facebook. He says, Dear Damona, I'm a 36-year-old man who's trying to get into the dating game. My life is pretty normal except for the fact that I have, this is serious, I have an aggressive terminal illness. I'm not exactly going to drop dead tomorrow, but I'm trying to have as many amazing experiences as possible while I can. When do you think is a good time to tell the women I'm dating?
Immediately.
Wow.
Immediately?
Yeah.
But if you don't know it's going to go anywhere.
No, I think first you find a website that's like, terminal illness dating.com.
It's called Tinder.
Yeah. Those are other illnesses. But then you're super honest. Imagine like if that were me and I fell in love with him and he was like, oh, by the way, I've got this, I would be like heartbroken. I'd rather know what I was getting into immediately and then make that decision. I'm a grown woman.
Disagree.
You disagree?
I do. Because I'm like, if he's just casually dating, then like, what's the difference of that and just being like, no, I was just, just one time, it was good. But then, I'm like, yeah, if he's trying to get into a relationship, he should tell immediately. But I'm like, if he's going about it casually, because then you're basically subjecting the man to like having to go through whatever that, an additional like rejection and having to go through the process of basically coming out and saying like, yeah, also I'm dying, and seeing the look on people's faces over and over again. Like, why should you have to
But it's
do
the
that?
same as like dating a guy on an app who's like, I have kids. Not that kids are a terminal illness, but it is a lifelong.
That's so the same.
Terminal.
No.
It is a lifelong
Some
commitment.
situations it is.
And so it's like, I'd rather know that up front. Am I dealing with someone who has kids or an illness or a cane or anything?
I know you want to know that STI business from jump.
Well, yeah, you should.
What were you going to say?
That too,
What
actually.
were you going to say, Ray?
I agree. I mean, I think. Well, first of all, coming in hot with technically dating. Wow,
I
that's
know.
a heavy
I
one.
did.
Right.
I didn't mean to go that heavy that fast, but
don't
we
hate it. I like
we ain't
it.
got a lot of time left. We have 4 minutes, and you still have to do a rant.
I mean, I think that I think that maybe after the first date, if that first date is not like a one night stand, and it looks like you both like each other, then it's time. But I totally agree. Like maybe you just want to have some fun.
Like if he's just casual, then I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I have another question. What about this one? She says, my boyfriend has a lot of comments and suggestions about the way I dress and wear my hair. How do I tell if he's being too controlling? Producer Jay. Already.
I think he just needs to calm down real quick. Like, take a step back. How long have they been in this relationship?
Well,
like,
you're asking me questions.
I'm just saying, those are the questions that I would pose in that moment. Like, unless y'all like are really, really committed and like, you know, steer clear.
I don't think I would tell my husband how to dress or wear. I would say, "Ooh, I really like those pants on you," or "Did you do something different with your hair? I like it when you do the gel thing," or
the classic like that. You know, that's not my favorite dress.
Oh, you would say that?
I mean, that's a nicer way to say it as opposed to that dress is kind of whack. Or I hate it.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever said like, "Oh, that's not my favorite"?
About a dress, no. But if you have to deliver bad news, the whole rhetorical, "That's not my favorite blank" is kind of the nicer way to do it.
What about I really like your blank as opposed to "that's not my favorite" because I would they would wake up with it stuffed in their mouth.
Natasha, you wear pretty bold things. What would you do if somebody?
I can't imagine someone telling me that they preferred something on me or like in that way. Wear your hair this way, and I feel good about myself when I walked out of the house. So no, I wouldn't play with that. No.
I agree. Actually, I feel like because I shaved my head, I feel like people were like a little bit weirdly hurt that I didn't consult with them.
You didn't consult with me. I was a little surprised. Why did you shave your hair?
Well, for you, I was just going surprise factor. But I decided, I think objectively, longer hair looks better on all of us a little bit. But it's like my Steve Jobs black turtleneck. It's like I just don't even want to think about it. And that's why he did the black turtleneck. So he had to think about what he was going to wear every day. I just don't even want to look like, oh, boo, my hair has a look. I don't have to do that anymore.
I love how guys can do that. Like if girls are like, I'm just going to wear my hair short and I don't care. And then guys have opinion on it. You grew your hair. He took hair off and you grew your hair.
Honestly, everyone would have an opinion if I cut my hair. Like everybody has their own relationship with my hair.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
you
that's how it is. It's a relationship.
You got to do you.
I want to do like a second 250th episode because this is like going so quickly that we're coming to the end of the show, and you're known for your rants, Ray. So I thought we have to give at least 60 seconds on the clock for you to rant about whatever it is that you're dealing with right now.
So I'm ready to rant, but just to set expectations, back in the day, like this one's going to come from the heart. Back in the day, I would write it, craft it, edit it, get it ready, practice it a couple times. This one's going to be just from the heart.
Get the clock ready.
Freestyle?
Expectations.
Get the clock ready, Leah.
Sure, a little freestyle.
Maybe put a couple of extra minutes on it. No, I'm kidding. 60 seconds on the clock for Ray's rant.
It's time to stop getting so offended.
Why don't you look at me?
The culture in today's America is just this one in the chamber ready to get offended at any time. And you know what? It's not conducive to a happy culture, to a productive culture, to even interpersonal relationships. And I get it. Getting offended in a way is a form of power. Because when you are able to guilt trip somebody, they kind of owe you. Or they have a power over you. But there's other ways to get power. There's other ways to be more productive because being offended in a way is being emotional. And you don't want to do that when you're dealing with big challenges. So let's just stop getting offended and start working together, clear-headed, and in the right frame of mind. And that's it.
See, you have more time.
I could take it.
I know that you will, Producer Jay. Thank you for your opinion and for your rant. Producer Jay has something to say.
Oh,
clearly.
I don't because I don't have nearly enough time to actually go into it. But I am one that is quite all right with offense.
I noticed.
Quite all right with people taking offense to certain things because I think sometimes you want to just kind of like skirt the issue, and people don't like confrontation and they don't like difficult situations, so they want to avoid them. So they get hyper offended by people who are actually speaking up and saying that something is not okay with them.
Well, hopefully we haven't offended any of you listening today. This has been one of my favorite episodes to go back through the history here with Ray Christian and producer Natasha and producer Jay. So any final parting words for today's episode? You guys are all welcome back anytime, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's
You're
good
welcome.
to be here.
Honestly, this is like, y'all are like a comfy pair of jeans.
It's like getting back with an ex. It's always a good time.
I was like, that seems uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't want those.
I'm offended.
I like my exes.
Any parting words?
Maybe I'm
Anybody?
This has been great. Thank you so much for having us.
I was
on.
not fishing for that. I
yeah,
swear to God.
You're amazing.
You're
the
amazing.
best person.
Thank you. And thank you all for following Dates and Mates and for following me on social media at Damona Hoffman. We'll put links so you can follow these guys if you want to see what